Ask any Raptors fan whether Vince Carter's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no debate. It's over, ladies and gentlemen. And who better to break down some of his biggest career moments than his former teammate, Alvin Williams. You ready to do this, Al?
Yes, for sure.
Right. Half man, half amazing is not a nickname anyone just gets. And Vince Carter put the world on notice with his performance at the 2000 Slam Dunk Comp. But for me, what makes him the undisputed greatest dunker of all time is that he casually rips some of these off in game. So let's go back, run the tape. This is Vince's rookie season, all right? He gets the jump, blows past Crawford. What was the outcome in this scenario for you when you saw him take on Dikembe Mutombo?
Well, I think we all saw the outcome right there. Like,
Poster.
Dikembe just didn't know anything. But I remember being in this game at the time, and Steve Smith, who you see guarding Doug Christie, as we were running back, he was like, woo, you see that all the time? And I remember him saying that I'm like, yeah, in the middle of the game. So he had like the competition in awe when he did a lot of these things.
What kind of rookie was Vince?
So, a phenomenal rookie. It was the things that he was doing, and I think the way he had fear in his opponent's eyes as a rookie, just from not wanting to be on the highlight film, but he had skills. Like, and people really didn't want to guard him. He had a quick first step, and then he had a lot of ability. But I just think his impact from the entertainment side, a lot of people were scared to guard him.
Yeah, it was a reputation that he built for himself quickly. If we go to another legend that he posterized, Tim Duncan, this one equally ferocious. You handed off to him, Al. Walk me through this.
Well, I'm looking at it just like you. My game and my thing was pass to Vince and get out the way and let him do everything else.
No one wants to get in his way.
Exactly, get out of his way. But I passed and I got a chance to stay up top. So I saw him going straight down the lane. And the thing about this, Tim Duncan jumped and Vince just moved it ever so slightly and then dunked it. So it wasn't like he just went straight. He just moved it a little bit, like watch out, too little or too small.
We know he can dunk because he was doing everything. He was Rookie of the Year in '99. He's shining in his sophomore season. But then it's January 2000 and he is snubbed off the U.S. Olympic men's basketball team. 10 days later, he's taken on Ray Allen, who got the spot on the team ahead of him, and has an absolute revenge game for the ages. How bothered did you think Carter was about not being named immediately to that team?
I don't know, because Vince, he never carried himself like that. He never carried himself with like a chip on his shoulder, or he didn't outwardly say those things. He might have internalized those things, but you can tell sometimes he would have that look in his eye. And sometimes, like you would see after a play, as you see that one right there, like you would see him make a demonstrative like reaction or something like that. But for the most part, he was smiling and just playing his game. But you can tell when certain things bothered him or he felt like taking over the game, then that. So I don't know if Ray Allen, that snub, but he put a lot of work in on a lot of very, very good players, great players, matter of fact.
He had 47 points in that game. What motivated Vince in those early days?
You would have to ask Vince.
Yeah.
But I would say this. Early on with our team, we had a lot of veteran players, and they would hold him accountable. Even our coach, Butch Carter, he would hold him accountable. He would not let Vince get away with anything defensively, shot selection. But he encouraged, and they all encouraged. Oakley, Muggsy, D. Brown, like guys, Doug Christie, Kevin Willis, Antonio Davis, Del Kerr, like all through the years, he had a lot of great vets.
So he had mentorship and leadership in the best possible ways. What did you learn from Vince?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I ain't learned
Not
nothing.
a thing, VC.
Because there's nothing I could do like him. So just learn not to try to do the things to get hurt. But he was just a great teammate.
Yeah.
And he was somebody that, I would never, no way, get to that status, but I saw how he would try to handle things with grace. He would try to still be polite, because everything was brand new for him as well, all the notoriety and all the attention, but just being a teammate.
Al, if you go to 2000, Vinsanity now spreading south of the border. It's the first time the Raptors are on nationally. Do you remember that game?
2000, against Phoenix
2000?
Suns?
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns was right after the All-Star game.
You got it. And
yeah,
you're
51?
on 51.
50,
on 17 of 32 shooting.
Yeah,
he was
I remember
13 of 13 from the line.
I remember that like it was yesterday, because it was right after the All-Star game and after the dunk contest.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you think of players one-dimensional. He's a dunker.
This is his thing.
And this is his thing. And then for him to go out against a good Phoenix Suns team and do what he did right after that. And you realize the impact after that, because you could go to other places. You go down south now, you go to the States, you go back home, and now they're not calling you the Toronto Raptors, or they're not thinking that you're a CBA team.
Yeah.
They think you're the real deal. And then you start seeing the jerseys events. You see the warm-ups, because that was the year, the era of the throwbacks and all that stuff. So you start seeing a lot of Raptors stuff. But that game and that span was a big time, like a big time thing for the Raptors and Vince.
So let's skip ahead a season now. You, Vince, and the Raps roll into a second straight first-round playoff matchup against the Knicks. It's Game 5. Yeah. We're at MSG, the Mecca. Ball is in your hands. History's on the line. What immediately comes to you when I mention that moment?
Get it to Vince.
Get it to Vince. But did you?
By mistake.
By mistake, a little bit. He had your back.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, thinking about to go into a move, and then he'd find me, and then there was nothing else to do. The clock was running down, and anybody who plays basketball, they know when his clock is against you, you have nothing else to do but shoot it. That's the easiest shot. So
everything about this sequence is it's like he knew exactly where to be at all the right times.
Well, Coach Wilkins drew this play up. He said, Al, go isolation, slip a little bit, let Vince get it.
It was part of the plan.
Yeah, draw a double team. And it's just, like you said, he knew. Like the double team was there. He didn't even have to look. The little pocket pass.
Back.
And that's not a routine play, especially at that moment. It's kind of like, let me force up a shot, or let me not take that shot because we can't turn it over. But Vince had the awareness and just being in the right place at the right time. And it was so enjoyable to watch, because the year before, Vince struggled. His first year in the playoffs, and we just struggled as a team, and as a superstar, he struggled. But the next year, he bounced back through experience and just everything, and he carried us on his shoulders that series all the way to that second round.
We're gonna wrap it up with Carter's signature moment, I'd say, with the franchise. 2001, second round. VC drops a 50-piece in the playoffs against that year's MVP, Allen Iverson. So we're at the peak of Vinsanity. Can you now clearly see the Hall of Fame in the distance for him?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think back, at that time, you're not thinking of it. It's still early in his career, but you know he's one of, at that time, there's a lot of talk, top 5.
Yeah,
like top 5 player. Course. And he was there. Like Vince was, you would have Shaq, to me, KG, Allen Iverson, Vince. And then, people were talking about Vince more than they were talking about Kobe at that time, I believe. So that's 4 guys, but then you pick your 5th, but Vince was there. The way he was carrying us, the way we were playing, we were a threat to a lot of teams. A lot of people came out to see Vince. It was like he was a rock star. So, I don't know Hall of Fame, but you definitely know he's one of the faces of the NBA.
There was a cool call on TNT where they said he was the answer to the answer. What was the challenge between him and Iverson at that time?
Well, it was no challenge, because I was guarding Allen Iverson and he wasn't. He was running away from him. But in my mind, he should have been guarding him. But no. But thank God for him. Like, a funny story is, when we were in Philly and AI had 54.
Yeah.
And I was in the back and I'm pissed. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, and a close friend of mine, Aaron McKee, that played with the Sixers, he just hit me on my shoulder and said, hey man, don't worry about it. When he gets rolling like that, there's nothing you can do. So we come back to game 3 and boom, that game. And I see Aaron in the back. I'm saying, hey man, when he gets rolling like that, there's nothing you can do. So it was awesome just to see it. And then it's even more special when you get back and you look back in the summertime. They show the series, especially in Philadelphia a lot, because that's a great series for the Sixers. And that was the last time they've been in the championship. So they'll show that series a lot. And they just go back and forth with the different games of AI and then Vince. And it just showed, like, AI is that guy, but we got our guy too. And it was a good moment for everyone. I wish we could have won, but he showed up and showed out during that series.
When you think of Vince Carter in the Hall of Fame, what do you think people need to know about this player that really matters? What stands out about him and why is he there?
I think people need to understand that he loved the game. I think a lot of people thought that, his approach wasn't like who you compare him to, Michael Jordan's and your Kobe Bryant's. You talk about the killers and these guys, they would do anything to win. And then you look at Vince and people would say, I don't know, because he was smiling. You would catch Vince dancing. He'd be crip walking and Harlem shaking before the games and stuff like that. But then he'd come out and then you're like, is he serious? Does he love the game? There's certain things that happen, but I think people need to understand, like, he loved the game. He loved the approach of the game. He loved the challenge. And for someone to play, I think 22 years, you have to love
Longest.
it. Yeah,
Better.
you have to love
You better.
it. And you have to be that good. You can't half-step being that good for that long.
What are you going to say to Vince once he's in the Hall?
Congrats. I'm proud of him. I really am. We talk more now, I think, now that we're both in the broadcasting world, but just proud of him, and just I'm happy for him. And I wish I could have been a better friend. And I think I was a good teammate to him, but a better friend, especially when you're going through the things that he was going through later in his stay here in Toronto. Just being a better friend, and not that I wasn't. I just think we didn't communicate a lot, and we don't know how to. You don't know business is taken care of, but I'm just proud of him and happy for him.
You can be a good friend now, Al. I feel like,
try to be.
Look at these two smiley guys behind you. We'll bring it back to there, Al. Thanks for going down memory lane with me today.
I might have been pissed at him at that picture. He might have grabbed me and said, "It's all good." That's one of them times.
That's a good teammate. Thanks, Al.
That's my man.